Their approach, Doug, was pretty consistent over the last day or two, which was nothing's probably going to happen, and if it does, it's going to be controllable players, and they're not going to trade any prospects. And that's what ended up happening there right at the trade deadline. The thing about Todd Frazier and Robinson Chirinos, in addition to Miguel Castro, who's younger, they're all under control for next season, Castro for a couple more seasons. So it really wasn't, as Brodie said, just a total win-now move. They were trying to start to address some potential roster considerations for next year.
I understand going for it, what Brodie is doing a little bit here. He didn't give up any top prospects, although Kevin Smith is highly regarded by some. But I think they couldn't give up on this year because it's still so wide open. You get into these expanded playoffs and you never know because you have DeGrom at the top. And to me, Lugo would be your game 2 starter. He'll be plenty stretched out by then. So I can't count him out at anything, but I think Brodie did what he could by adding on the margins. I don't think any of these moves are all that significant, but he didn't, at least he didn't go and trade top prospects.
I think Castro is the one guy that I keep an eye out. You know, this is a high upside guy. Andy talked about the fact he's got a 96, 97 mile an hour fastball. It's a 2-seamer with really good life. And his numbers don't really look all that great when you look at it, you know, over his career. But this year he's figured some things out. He's much more consistent in strikes out. He's got a really good breaking ball too. So, you know, the one thing I don't know about is even though the stuff has been good and the command's been better, he hasn't really pitched in any type of pressure situation, you know, and that's where when you start moving from a team who's in a rebuild to a team that's at least contending or has expectations to contend, how that plays. So, you know, I'm not sure how that's going to look, but the stuff is real. And so, you know, you look at where they are in the bullpen and some of the needs that they have, especially if you're committed to Lugo and Gesellman in the rotation going forward. I think that was a necessary piece that they added that I think could end up paying dividends for them.
I know the National League is certainly filled with a lot of parity right now. You only have 4 teams that have winning records, so they're very much in play. But when you strip all that aside, guys, I mean, the reality is the Mets are not a very good baseball team. And you could talk about, you know, things maybe rounding into form a little bit, and all you have to do is just sneak in, as Harp was saying. You have DeGrom, you have Lugo. Okay, well, they had DeGrom today, and they couldn't beat a Marlins team that they got an early lead on, who flew up from Miami just to play 1 game today before they fly back and go home, and they still couldn't get the job. They're not hitting in the clutch. The bullpen is leaking all over the place. They don't have dependable starters outside of DeGrom and Lugo. So I'm glad they didn't do crazy kidding themselves that they are actually better than they really are. Stand pat.